The biggest story from yesterday was that KKR was being singled out. KKR owner Shah Rukh Khan was getting a lot of flack for having signed a Bangladesh player in Mustafizur Rahman. Not for a paltry sum, for 9.20 crore, Mustafizur Rahman was signed. And when you make a signing worth that kind of money, then certainly that player is being looked at as somebody who will feature in the 11. However, KKR's plans have taken a big hit because the BCCI, given the outcry that's happened on social media and even on the streets in several parts of the country because of the Indo-Bangladesh tensions that have been on, because of the atrocities that have been happening across the border, singling out Hindu minority groups, there has been a lot of anger in India, and now the BCCI has had to take cognizance of the matter. Until yesterday, nothing that we'd heard from the BCCI, but now we have been told by Devajit Saikia, the BCCI secretary, has told Sports Today that going forward, KKR will have to release Mustafizur Rahman. In fact, that's an instruction that's been given to KKR to go ahead and figure out a way. If they want a replacement, that replacement will also be provided. How the monetary aspect of it is going to figure out, that is something we will have to wait and see. But remember, Mustafizur Rahman is no new player to the Indian Premier League. He's played for the Delhi Capitals, he's played for the Chennai Super Kings, he's played for Rajasthan Royals, he's even played for KKR in the past. This was to be a second stint for Mustafizur Rahman in the Kolkata jersey. However, it's looking very bleak at the moment because very direct instructions now been given by the BCCI to KKR to allow Mustafizur Rahman to be released. Will this be a bigger debate going forward? Perhaps. At the moment, given the situation that exists, maybe against Bangladesh players, you could be headed in the similar direction that you have already taken when it comes to Pakistan players. Remember 2008, since then, there's been a de facto ban on Pakistan players. No such ban has ever been imposed on players from any particular nationality, religion, or anything for that matter. But now, though, given the murky situation between India and Bangladesh, this begs the question, is the BCCI now going to be, if KKR are being told to release a player because of his nation of origin or because of his place of birth, then perhaps the BCCI could be mulling what is it that they need to do in terms of having a straight-jacketed policy for players coming from certain areas. This calls for bigger discussions. This changes the IPL in many ways as well. Of course, it's loss of talent as well. That's not to say you will still not have enough players who will be available. Remember, there were 1,300, in excess of 1,300 people, in fact, who had put their hat in the ring. Ultimately, though, there was only about 259 that went into the auction pool, given franchise interest. Speaking specifically of Bangladesh players, there were 7 players who had made it to the auction fray, but there was only one in Mustafizur Rahman who was picked by the Kolkata Knight Riders. They weren't the only franchise that were interested in him. There were a couple of other franchises as well. He comes in with a wealth of experience. Remember, he's played about 60 odd matches, having picked up 66 odd wickets, if memory serves me right. A seasoned campaigner, Mustafizur Rahman, and that's why besides just Kolkata Knight Riders, there were many takers, which is why the price went all the way up to 9.2 crore rupees. But now the BCCI having to intervene. Whether this has come from the top brass, whether this has come from the central government, is something we haven't heard yet. But certainly those discussions have to have reached the corridors of the Home Ministry, of the Foreign Ministry as well, given the tensions that exist between India and Bangladesh. It's not looking good. There are plenty of activities that are happening that have gone against the Hindu sentiment in the country, and looking at that, there's been protests that have been happening. There have been several letters that have been written. Certain groups have already said, in fact, can I just take you back to what certain political leaders were also saying? I remember a BJP leader, in fact, saying yesterday that we will not allow the plane to land. We will not allow him to get out of the airport. There is no way that Mustafizur Rahman is reaching the Eden Gardens and take part, and no way that he takes part in the IPL season of 2026. So we've already seen hardened run stands. We've also seen the one particular faction of the Shiv Sena as well also say no way is this happening. In fact, Uddhav Thackeray went ahead and said that with all the money that you infuse into Bangladesh economy, and this is one means of doing that by giving something like a 9.2 crore to a cricket player like Mustafizur Rahman. That money is then circulated and used against India in many activities that go against the interest of the nation. So it's been a boiling issue since yesterday, but now though we see BCCI intervening as well. The BCCI has had to step in and has asked KKR now to figure out a way and release the player. They are being told that a signing can be made, a replacement player can be signed by the franchise. Who that player will be is something we will have to wait and see. But this is a big jolt to the Kolkata Knight Riders, and this is big for the IPL as well, because the BCCI hasn't really taken a stance like this against a player of a certain nationality. Like I said, come 2026, come 2027, when you look at the auction of next year, this is where things will become very interesting. Is the BCCI now willing to go a step forward and bases the historical differences that India and Bangladesh have had, given the fact that there is an all-time low that that relationship has now touched? There has been a lot that's been happening. Can I in fact also tell you something, that these tensions were pre-existing to the auction as well? It's not that these tensions have just come to the fore. But what has happened since the time that the auction has happened is that these tensions have definitely increased. On the ground, the sentiment has changed. It's intensified. Atrocities perhaps have also gone up. And given that there is a lot of sentiment that goes against people from Bangladesh, the Bangladeshi dispensation as well, Mohammad Yunus is getting a lot of criticism as well. No matter what global accolades, peace accolades he may be collecting, but the sentiment in India is going against the Bangladeshi dispensation right now, and as a result you now see the BCCI being asked to take cognizance of the matter. There is no way that the BCCI could have just closed its eyes to what was happening. Shah Rukh Khan was targeted yesterday. There were calls against him. In fact, certain political leaders also going ahead and calling Shah Rukh Khan a traitor. It was a BJP leader, I remember, who tagged Shah Rukh Khan as a traitor to the nation. So it's the situation's on the boil. We expect more developments from the KKR. We haven't heard anything yet, so nothing that the franchise has officially said till now. We will keep you up to date. It's a developing story, and who that player will be now is the big question. This is where the Kolkata Knight Riders think tank, remember, Shah Rukh Khan has nothing to do with the operations. Yes, he's a part owner. There are a couple of other owners as well, as you would have seen at the auction. However, Shah Rukh Khan was the only one who was singled out yesterday on social media and even on ground, as many protests were being carried out as well. What happens next, we'll keep you up to date, but what you need to do to be able to get all the updates from us very quickly in the swiftest possible manner, you need to subscribe to Sports Day. You need to tap that bell. Plenty of other stories coming. I will be back with my two colleagues, Siddharth Vishwanath and Nikhil Naz. We'll be breaking down the India squad for the ODI series against New Zealand. It's the last ODI series you have before the IPL begins, before the T20 World Cup begins as well. So stay tuned. Don't forget, in fact, as I said, remember to tap that bell so that you get notified when we come live.